What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Married to Medicine. This is season 10, episode 7. So let's get into it. So before we get into it, y'all, we gonna get a little spicy, just a little bit, and talk about Quad's interview with Carlos King. So the interview, I'm guessing, was posted Sunday night. I watched it today, this afternoon, and this will just be a brief summary of my opinion. Honestly, the interview didn't do anything for me when it came to Quad, in the sense of like, it didn't change my opinion about her. It also didn't sway me to her side in this ousting situation. It kind of gave me a little bit more insight, but other than that, I still stand firm in how I feel about this whole situation. And you'll get more of that when I get to the review part. But what it just let me know, honestly, and the thought popped in my head, is that Quad is not a star for me. Let me say that again. Quad is not a star for me. I know Quad has stands and fans, and I enjoy Quad on Married to Medicine. But when we're talking about star power and star quality, she's not that for me. And that's just for me. And the reason why I say that is, like, while she was doing this interview with Carlos, I was thinking about Kenya and Nene's interview with him and how I was really excited to watch both of their interviews and listen to what they had to say. And when I got to this interview, I was excited to hear what Quad had to say. But as the interview went on, I was just like, oh, this is just more of the same old stuff. At least when I watched the interviews with Nene and Kenya, it felt like we got like a somewhat of a different side, but not really, but more of an honest side of them. Like, they both seemed to be so comfortable with their relationship with Carlos that they were willing to speak freely. With Quad, it still felt like she had her guard up and she was still playing that character that we see on the show. And maybe that really is her personality, but to me, I feel like parts of what Quad gives us on the show is a character. It's not her fully, but she claims it is. And I mean, like, I get it. Some people do play into themselves, but it just didn't hit for me, y'all. I was just like, okay, the only thing I really took away from this is, again, Quad doesn't take accountability for anything, as well as she misses her friendship with Mariah. And so, in my opinion, I was hoping, like, in my mind, I was just like, man, hopefully one day Mariah and her can actually, like, sit down and have, like, a real heart to heart conversation. And they probably will never be friends again the way they were before Married to Medicine, but maybe they would be a new form of friendship that would fulfill them both in the same way. But then again, who knows if Mariah ever wants to be in the same room with Quad. But let's get into this review. All right, y'all. So the episode opens up where it left off, where the ladies are having dinner and everyone's just stating their grievances about Quad. Now, here's my thing. Here is my thing. I don't feel bad for Quad. I know a lot of people are like, they're doing Quad so dirty. And will I say the way that they're going about it is very harsh? Yes. But do I think it's dirty? No. I think this is what happens when someone comes on a trip and everybody doesn't have a relationship with you anymore, or people are tired of being friends with you and are ready for you to not be a part of the group. So, like I said, they're sitting down at the dinner table and they're talking. Quad's telling the ladies, like, I just want you guys to love me and I love you back. You know, I've been hurt by y'all. She just told the ladies that she doesn't have an emotional connection to the group. So they just kind of like, why are you here? Like, if you don't have an emotional connection to the group, why are you here? So you got Heavenly telling Quiet, like, don't act like a victim. Like, we're telling you how we feel, and now all of a sudden you're a victim. Then Toya ends up saying, like, you know, I want to get back to being a forgiving person, but right now I'm not there with you. And Quad was like, I understand, but how do we move forward? And everybody's kind of sitting at the table like they don't know. You got Alicia and Sweet Tea, like, looking confused and being like, damn. And so they all get up from the table, and then we see Phaedra, Jackie, Simone, Heavenly, and Toya sitting in somebody's room talking about what just happened at the dinner and asking everybody if they're like okay. The person who Quad should have the most beef with is Phaedra at this point, because you brought Phaedra on this show just for Phaedra to side with these people to get you off this show. That's a snake right there, okay? And you have seen her many a time be a snake. So I can't even be like, girl, because I bet you people told you to watch out for Miss Phaedra. Miss Phaedra. So Phaedra's like, I'm a neutral party. And, I don't, I'm just neutral, but I do understand where y'all coming from because it seems like y'all keep getting disrespected. And then Jackie chimes in and she's like, Quad pretty much treats us like cousins or the the redheaded stepchild that you don't want people to know about. And then they bring up Sister Circle. Some of the Quad fans feel like that's not a big enough deal, but it is a big enough deal when you telling people that you almost gave up on sisterhoods and friendship while you got your other friends there. And these are your real friends. But what's funny to me, if those are your real friends, do you still talk to them people? Because if you don't, it just makes it even more annoying. It shows how like you don't really have that many like. It just shows how fake you are, Quad. If you are not friends with those people that you are saying made you believe back into the sisterhood or whatever the crap you was saying at that party, and so they decide to call her back in. Toya really is like she ready for them to like give Quad the boot. She ready for them to kick her out so we can move on and they can have a better trip. So they asked Quad to come back. Now I'm not gonna lie, when they did this, I was like, yeah, now this part is gross because it's like that has to be mad uncomfortable to be sitting in a room full of people that don't like you, that are just about to tell you they don't want to be friends with you no more. And it's not like you have anybody else on the trip that like has your back, because next thing you know, Quad is like, yeah, I thought we were gonna work moving forward, and Simone is just kind of like, well, how are we gonna move forward but you don't feel like you have an emotional connection with this group? And she was like, I don't, but I want to get back to that. And they're like, well, we don't want that. Okay, we're good. Maybe it's just time for you to no longer be a part of this group. And Quad is visibly taken back. She crying in the confessionals talking about, dang, y'all really hate me. And I was like, I don't think it's hate, if I'm going to be honest. I genuinely don't think it's hate. I just think that sometimes as you get older, you start to realize that some friendships are just a season. And maybe Quads was just supposed to be 10 years and letting it go. Because it's like, if you're not friends with them except for with one person in the group, then that was your fault because you didn't strategize how to still stay in the group. That's my thing with Quad. You want to isolate yourself. When the ladies reach out to you, you don't give them a response. You don't give them anything. But then you only have one person come visit your island, which is Heavenly, which Heavenly is nobody's friend except Jackie's. Everybody else is like, she don't mind going off and making them collateral damage. And it's like, you didn't have anybody else come visit your island. Like, you should have still kept your relationship strong with Simone and Jackie. We know you wasn't going to be cool with Toya. But, like, Anila is gone. Contessa is gone. You're by yourself with just Heavenly. You did that to yourself. I can also say that the relationships works both ways. If Quad was reaching out with the ladies and they weren't returning phone calls or vice versa, eventually the relationship was going to fizzle out and they were just going to have to move on. And this is what moving on is. And I get it. Quad has fans and they love her and they love her down. But if she doesn't make sense in the group anymore, what do y'all want them to do? Just have her there? Because let's be honest, last season, Quad didn't give us nothing. Last season, we had that situation unfortunately, with her brother passing away and she was helping take care of her nephew. But that was like maybe 3 episodes out of the season. Then you hit us with the whole situation with Anila and Toya. That was at the end of the season pretty much. Like, what else did Quad give us last season? What else? Because I think the whole arguing at her condo was like 2 or 3 seasons ago. Yeah, that was during the COVID season. So it's like, what else? Like, what else has Quad really given us? And I like Quad. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I enjoy Quad. But it's just like she don't give the way y'all be saying she gives. She at least for me, she don't give me that. So it's the next day. We see Quad eating on the bed by herself, talking to herself, being like, they don't like you, Quad. They hate you. And I'm like, I hate when people immediate thing is like, oh, the girls are jealous of me. They hate me. And it's like, no, your personalities just don't mix. At this point, I don't even think they hate Quad. I just think they don't find any value in her anymore. Like that ain't got nothing to do with hate. It's like what else do you want from us? Like we don't want to be friends with you anymore. That ain't got nothing about being jealous or hating on you. It's just that like, I don't want this friendship no more. And people have a right to do that, especially if they don't see value in it. So she getting ready. We end up seeing Toya on the phone with Eugene. Eugene and her are talking about the situation, and Eugene's pretty much like he happy that the lady stood with his wife. He was like he hate that it went out this way with Quad, but she's happy that they stood together. Toya says everybody had some issues with Quad. They just all decided to stand on one accord and present their issues with her at the same time. We then see Sweet Tea on the phone with Greg, telling Greg about what happened with Quad. He and his wife are lame because Greg is in the confessional being like, do I want Quad not to be in the group? Nah, but like, it is what it is. And hell yeah. I was like, ugh, well, she looked like a beaver and he looked like a mushed up turtle. Honestly, yeah, he do. He looked like one of them weird CGI turtles from Ninja Turtles, the movie that had Megan Fox in it. I don't know which Ninja Turtle version that was, but he looked like one of them. And I was just like, shut up. And she just smiling with them big teeth. And I'm like, girl, this is what you signed up for. This is what you signed up for. Okay. Okay. So next we see all the girls are getting ready to go to a winery, another like I guess another winery while that's happening, we see Jackie getting ready to do an interview with Kamala Harris, and she is definitely nervous but also super excited. She was like, I never thought this would ever happen to me, so to have this experience is so crazy. We know that they are sorors. Jackie is an AKA. So she's like excited and nervous. We see Heavenly taking pictures of her being Heavenly. And while that's happening, the rest of the ladies end up going to this place called KJ's or K&J or something like that. And they have like a beautiful setup while they're sitting down at the table. Everyone's just kind of talking about what it's like with Quad not being there. People are like, it feels lighter. It doesn't feel so stressful. Like Simone was like, I feel like I can eat because I couldn't eat yesterday. It just was so uncomfortable. And so then we see Jackie pop up. So Jackie's conversation with Kamala Harris was about maternal mortality, especially how it's been disproportionately affecting Black women. I think we're 3 times more likely to die during childbirth because our needs aren't being met, or people think that we're exaggerating, but people don't understand having a baby is the closest a woman can get to death and still survive. Like, your body's hormones and the stress and everything, like there's a lot of complicated things that can happen when you're having a baby. So they talk about how that they can find ways to help that number to go down. Kamala Harris also talks about how I think she's talking about how Medicaid has like a 12-month program for postpartum program from any moms that need it. And so Jackie was like, it's important for us to get the word out there. But, she was starstruck, talking to the vice president, realizing that, like, this is such a big deal. But I also think this adds to the credibility of the show. Like, Jackie, I know people find Jackie to be boring. Some people don't like Jackie. But I think Jackie's role helps in many ways. Like, who else on here is talking to Kamala Harris? And like one of my mutuals online said something really that I was kind of like, you might be right, where she said that she feels like Jackie is really the breakout star of Married to Medicine, because they was like, think about it, Jackie is always on other reality shows. I said true. They also were saying how like Jackie's always doing speaking engagements, and definitely on the HBCU circuit, Jackie has done several. I remember she did one at my alma mater, and it was packed. So when she said that, I was like, I could see that argument of Jackie being the breakout star, because who else is like on other people's reality shows? Who else is doing speaking engagements to the magnitude that Jackie is? Nobody else is. So I was like, maybe she is. But I thought it was a very nice moment. While they're sitting at the table waiting for Jackie, you see Sweet Tea and Heavenly have a moment where Heavenly apologizes to Sweet Tea, and Sweet Tea accepts it. They're all like enjoying themselves. We then see Toya and Phaedra actually go talk to the company that she is doing her Toya Wine Club with. And I was like, girl, I don't know why you brung Phaedra's shiesty self, but okay. So she brought Phaedra. Honestly, I'm actually proud of Toya, because this actually seems like she's way more involved. Like, it's not just her being the, what's it called, the face of it. Like, she's actually wanting to start like being more involved in like the marketing and management of things. She asked the ladies, which I did think was funny. She was asking these two white ladies how to market to black people. And I said, yeah, girl. But Phaedra did come up with a good idea where she was like, maybe you could do like a wine tour with Toya, and like admissions is to buy like a bottle of wine or 2 bottles of wine. And then they started talking about like etiquette. Like maybe Toya could teach people like, you don't hold your glass like this. This is why you hold your glass like that. And she was like getting excited and saying how like she wants to have flasks, she wants to have all these other different like products, and like she can really see herself like really running with this industry. And I was like, I think that's great. I mean, it took Toya 10 years to find her niche, but she found it, and she seems to be very successful in it. While Toya and Phaedra are speaking to the ladies, next thing you know, we see the other ladies. Sweet Tea is pulling out flasks with tequila and bourbon in it. I said, well, they did say they like not everybody in the group is like a wine drinker, but I was like, I'm not even mad at her, because that's something I would do. Be like, girl. But maybe not, because I do like wine. I'm a Moscato and a rosé girl. I don't really like red wine unless it's like muscadine. Like honestly, that's the only flavor of red wine I really enjoy, because it still has like a sweet taste to it. I don't know how people taste like dry wines, because they just taste so bitter to me. I want to drink something that is sweet, not bitter. But like I said, I'm actually proud of Toya. Like I said, it's taken that lady 10 years to find something that she's good at. In this wine club, she seems to really be thriving at. So good for her. So next we see the guys go to like a virtual like sports club kind of thing, where they can play like baseball and like golf and all that stuff, and like backgammon, I think that's what it was. I don't know. Either way, it was like something on the screen and they were throwing objects at it. We see all the men there, even big Moly Mo Curtis, which I'm like, Curtis, okay. Okay, big Curtis. But everyone's there. They're all talking about the situation with the ladies. They're like, dang, like they're like, Quad really gone? And they kind of like, yeah. Cecil's in his confessional saying, I was hoping that Simone and Quad could get on the same page, but like, I'm a ride with my wife. I'm a ride with my wife. So then we finally get more information about Allison and her husband. I don't remember his name. I think it was like, was it Comey? Because I think it was like Kuma. That's Kuma. Girl, why am I thinking about One Piece? That is the wrong show, Leah. Maybe that is the wrong show. I don't know that man's name. I'll learn his name. But we finally hear Allison speak, and her husband is already annoying. So we find out they have a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old son. They're both Nigerian, or I guess are they both Nigerian? We know he's Nigerian and he's also a doctor. And they're all the guys are like asking him like, "Oh, how's it feel to be at home with the kids by themselves?" And he was like, "Man, I'm stressed out. Like I ain't never been at home by myself with the kids. It's always been, you know, Alicia's either been there or somebody else has always been there to help." And they was like, "You really never," all the men, which I was happy that all the guys were looking at him like he was crazy, because they was like, "You really ain't been by yourself with your kids." Because we then find out that even though, Dr. Daddy, aka Dr. Damon, was like an ER doctor, he still was by himself with his kids. Like, he took pride in that. Eugene, like, he said, "I knew how to feed them, clothe them, and get them ready." And then Cecil told a story about how, Simone was always offering to babysit people's kids and then leave, like, but then she'd be on call and then have to leave. So then Cecil would be at home by himself with 2 screaming kids. And one of them wasn't his. So they're all just kind of like looking at him like, "Bro, you really never been by yourself with your kids?" And I was like, "Oh, he gonna get on my nerves." I could feel like he gonna get on my nerves. That man gonna get on my nerves. So we then see the ladies go to like a different restaurant, and they're all sitting around talking. And Simone brings up about how like this year she wanted to manifest like a better relationship with her, with Cecil. She also talked about, because I think Toya brought up about how like she wrote on her vision board about getting this opportunity, and everyone's like, "Oh wow, like, the power of manifestation and all of that good stuff." And Simone was like, "Yeah, I started to realize that like a lot of things that me and Cecil would argue about, they're petty and they weren't worth arguing about." She also brought up how she was just like, sometimes I just got to learn how to talk differently. Then that's when, what's her name? Heavenly speaks up saying that, "I ain't always said the right thing. Sometimes I said the wrong thing." Everybody at the table like, "Girl, ooh, not you, Heavenly. The one who got a bad mouth." And so they all laughed at that. You got, what's her name? Sweet Tea talking about, Gregory is a fixer, and sometimes I don't want him to fix anything. I just want him to listen. And they were all like, "Girl, he never gonna be that way because he's wired differently than us." Like, and it's not like you want him to be wired like you, but like you just have to learn how to maneuver your relationship in a different way. Then Dr. Alicia speaks up, and she starts talking about how, she was raised by a single mom. And like she's like, "I do my things by myself. Sometimes I'll grab like I guess in the beginning of their relationship, she would like grab tools and do things and like tell her husband he wasn't a man." And everyone was like, "Dang, girl, that is not what you want to say to him." But then Simone said in her confessional, like, you can definitely tell that there's a difference in the way Alicia acts in front of her husband versus in front of the ladies, because she's more opinionated when it comes to the ladies versus her husband. And she was like, and Simone was like, "It's an act." I said, "It definitely is." Because then that lady in her confession talking about, "I'm working on being more submissive. Like my husband is the head and I'm the neck, and you can't move your neck without the head." And I was like, "Ma'am, if you have to not be yourself, what's the point of being married to someone if you can't be yourself?" That's weird to me. That is really weird to me. So I can tell that they gonna get on my nerves because her husband don't make sense. He don't make sense. Like, you're a grown man. Those are your kids. Why can't you take care of those kids by yourself with your wife being gone for like 3 days? And I guess she was saying how like he's Nigerian, and where he comes from, they're used to always having someone take care of the kids. or like, someone's always there to clean, to cook, and all of this stuff. And I didn't grow up that way, so our worldview is different. And I'm like, why would you marry somebody whose worldview is so, well, you can marry somebody whose worldview is so different, but if they're not willing to compromise or see the other side, then that's stupid. That's stupid. I feel like they're gonna get on my nerves. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and hop down in them comments below. Deuces.